This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Hoochmanzada.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It just makes sense.
We are sports. We are nostalgia. We are pop culture. And we're funny sometimes.
I think overall we're just a good time.
They thought we couldn't do it. But guess what?
We're back.
Podcasts are free, and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
We never knew what we were doing in the first place.
Yeah, that is a good point. So I don't think this necessarily is like, oh, Colorado sucks and Oregon's amazing. I think Oregon's just as good as we thought they are. And Colorado, they're good. They're much better than they ever have been. This is a huge step forward for their organization.
We know these guys are going to come a lot.
You guys were messing with me.
Yeah, that wasn't true at all.
It's a big, thick Saquon Barkley kind of looking.
Who are these idiots? We are going to look back on this episode and I'm sure laugh at some of the things we're saying.
Especially whatever I say.
This season is just going to be a ton of electricity, a lot of fireworks.
Eat your words. Eat your words, Peter. If this is any indicator of how season 4 is going to be, then we're on the right
Best
track.
season yet. It's not very often you just have oatmeal. You have oatmeal with fruit. You have oatmeal with it's a and thing.
Is oatmeal a grain?
Yeah.
So think of other grains. Are other grains do they require a lot of other things to make them good, or are they?
I think almost all grains require a partner to make them good. It's not like not very often that you just eat bread. Usually
But people can eat just bread. People can eat just rice.
And you can eat just rice. You can eat just oatmeal.
Eat corn.
True.
But oatmeal, it's not bearable unless there's other shit in it.
I think there's people that would disagree with you.
At the hotel, they were trying to sell the oatmeal for like $14 for the room service. And they model it, they call it like steel cut oats. It's like, well, how else are you going to cut it? You know? So they have to like even fancify it even before.
Aluminum?
Yeah. It's like, are you going to chew it off and then you're going to mama bird it back in? Like
Teeth cut oats.
They have to, yeah.
High cut.
Snaggle tooth cut oats. So yeah, I tend to agree. But I do like the excuse to put in sugar and all that other stuff. That's why you do it.
Vegan.
Steel cut oats.
Oatmeal's growth, man.
3.
I'm doing this whole episode
Oh, no.
with this, and I've already committed.
Turning over.
Is it that myth that it's gonna get stuck if you do it too much?
Like the cross eyes or all that?
Wind blows and you're cross-eyed forever.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? We'll give it a shot.
Can't wait. Good thing that this episode will probably be a little bit shorter as we come off of wedding weekend for Mr. Braxton Tanner.
Yeah. Look at it, bitch.
He was trying to whistle.
I'm trying to Phil Jackson.
Oh, God. Every are you guys going to just do this once?
That's the Phil Jackson whistle.
That's a Phil. Yeah, are you trying to set up the triangle offense?
Sorry.
Or are you trying to do?
He's calling Derek Fisher.
So far, we're 2 minutes in.
Okay.
Got it.
Sorry.
Cancel the episode.
Sorry.
Well,
I was just trying to show off that I could do it.
it is I didn't even. Don't do it again. But I didn't see how you did it.
You
You throw that in there and then you push.
Yeah. The fake teeth help.
Yeah. There you go.
Not really, though.
Well, Mr. Married Man, 2 days in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about our life events.
It was lit.
It was so litty.
It was great.
Liddy committee.
Yeah.
It was honestly, it was just such a wonderful experience. Not very often. We've talked about before on this podcast how I'm not a great morning person. And so it's not very often that I wake up and I'm genuinely excited for the day. I popped out of bed. I was ready to go. I was very excited.
Yeah, 15 minutes before we're supposed to be going, Matt Barker, who was on the show last week, he was sharing the room with you the night before. He was like, Braxton's not even awake yet. And I just sent him back, get him up now.
But
But you guys were messing with me.
Yeah, that wasn't true at all.
That wasn't true at all.
But yeah, it was from start to finish. Obviously, you guys were there. My close friends were there. Austin was there. Brigham was there, and we were able to hang out, watch college football. Everything went great. Pictures went great. Everything went smoothly.
Yeah.
There's really only one person who got too drunk, and they know who they are.
They know who they are.
Sorry.
But
also may have been on this podcast before.
Maybe.
But there's been a good number of people on the pod before.
You can guess.
You can guess.
It's one of our
too.
guests. But
He had a blast. That's what it means.
Yeah. And I mean, it just was absolutely like, from the rehearsal dinner and then hanging out at the country club.
It was
to
a good
the
time.
Bill
It was a
and
party
Jani's.
the whole time.
It was a party the whole time. And I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again on the pod. When you go to weddings, typically there's like the bride and the groom side. You kind of like stick in your cliques. You stick with what you're comfortable with. Like, I was playing the game with people like, okay, how many siblings can we each remember? And then going up and talking with the siblings and significant others. Everyone molded together so well. And it wasn't like this thing. It was just like one gigantic group where we just all, like, I had a great conversation with everyone I interacted with.
Yeah, it was awesome. My family's really, really good about that. They just love everybody. And you guys are so loving. All of our friends are so loving and accepting. I mean, it was just a conglomeration of love, and it was wonderful.
We've gone this far into it.
Well, no.
We've gone this far into it without mentioning just absolutely how beautiful, how stunning Jara was on her wedding day. She was I'm so beautiful. You looked okay too, but
thank you.
Braxy looked pretty good in the
he
tux.
He did. Steamed that thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's all credit to Pete.
Yeah, it wasn't about him.
I think the tux, it's not like you're as big as me, but you looked very slimming in that tux. It's like you cut weight that morning and then put
I
that
did.
shit
I
on.
vomited like 6 times. No, but Jara looked
drunk pizza.
I mean, I never could have even imagined the dress that she chose. She looked just so glorious.
Did you have any idea what the dress was going to look like? You had no idea.
Not any idea.
Also, with all the heads up, like, oh yeah, this type of blue is the theme for the wedding, and we knew what we were gonna wear. How that all came together with like how the groomsmen suits
you guys
look like
great
compared to the bridesmaids' dresses. Like it was
perfect.
It was a nice touch with like the bow ties and the pocket square matching that blue.
I was still wearing the bow tie. I somehow kept myself together throughout once we even got to the bar that night, and a guy came up from like across the room was like, that bow tie is freaking sick.
Yeah.
You made a really good decision going with the gray suits instead of matching them with the blue.
Yeah.
Like it was a nice mix.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody looked great. It started raining as soon as the ceremony started, and I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, no, this is just adds more to the magic. This is more memory. Everybody's gonna remember it.
Yeah, it wasn't pouring down rain, but it definitely was like
it was starting.
It made it cool.
Starting to get there.
It made it cool.
It
It was different.
And it masked all of our tears, is what it did.
Yeah, and the fact that like everybody just kind of embraced it, and a few people asked us, "Oh, were we gonna delay?" And Jared and I were like, "No, the show goes on. We are doing this, and whether you like it or not, get in your seats. It's a 15-minute ceremony, let's just do it."
I got to give that to both you and Jared, because that could have been like, crap, like all this stuff. It was a really nice day the day before, and like, you could have wished for a little bit better weather. But again, like you said, like it brings an allure to it. And I thought that the way that you guys handled that was like perfection. It was just kind of like you just rolled it. You can't change it.
Yep.
And
I think it's like we're all in this together. It's whatever the shitty situation is, everybody accepted it. The smiles, were on their face.
Least of the rain is least of the things that would ruin the best day that you have.
Yeah.
Like there's worse things. Like rain actually rain made it super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I know it sounds so cliche, but that was just the best day of my life. Everybody I love, everybody I care about, all there to celebrate this wonderful union, and it just warms my heart. I'm so filled with joy. Thank you guys for being there.
Yeah. No, I
Just do it once a week.
Yeah, I wish I could. That'd be sweet.
There is kind of that, like, not a hangover. I don't want a letdown. There's just like, it's just so awesome, right? It's like it's an emotion that you might not be able to feel all the time or replicate or whatever. And
you
so
want to like hold on
bottle
to
that
it.
up. Yeah.
And yeah, I was telling you guys earlier, going to work today, it was just like,
I'm a normal person.
this. Like, let's go back to the party.
Yeah.
You're sitting at work and someone's like, "What do you want to do for lunch?" I'm like, "It's my day. Get me lunch."
No, literally.
Just let it roll.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
one of the guys like on our crew came in. He was like, "Hey, congratulations!" I'm like, "Yeah, thanks." He's like, "You don't sound very excited." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at work again, man."
Yeah, I'm here with you. What do you expect me to sound like? Shout out Chase Wild, attorney at law, who's been
Yes.
on here for being the officiant. He
Yes.
was dialed in,
Impeccable.
Killed it.
Yeah.
He killed it.
killed it. He just encapsulated your guys' relationship so well. He was prepared. I respected the amount of.
Yeah, memorized it.
Yeah, I respected the amount of, like, he took it seriously, you know,
did.
and he was dialed in. And
I didn't realize that until the middle of the ceremony why he wanted to be alone that morning.
Mhm.
So I was like, "You'll be fine, dude. Like, everyone knows you. You're cool." But it was him memorizing what he was gonna say and not
Yeah.
reading off of something.
Yeah.
That's why he was.
Yeah, he was like, I
He had the
don't want to do this
nerves
with
and-
notes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
we
he
loosened
did-
him up a little bit. But
Yeah, and he did such a great job. Chase is forever and always someone that I know I can depend on, and he always comes through for me at least. And that, I love him dearly.
It
so
is-
shout out Chase.
It's wild. You know, there were a number of people that I saw this week whom I've never met before, and I'm going to go back to that. It just felt like you were immediately family with that person. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've known Chase for years at this point.
Yeah.
By, just that and getting a chance to talk with his wife, Hannah, as well. And let's see. I want to just go up and down the list of just how impressed I was by everyone.
I felt like Bill and Janie were my aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
I just
They
haven't seen them for a while.
They had like 50, 60 people in their house, and they were just all smiles, not a single
Yeah.
care. They also
John
had
Popinga was another
incredible
one of my
backyard.
uncles, just chilling with him and smoking.
Yeah.
Brigham's MVP.
Brigham,
He's
I'm
great.
the proudest guy there.
Shout out to Juan Magoo for your toast.
Great speech.
Incredible speech.
Great speech.
You you had coordinated something with the DJ so that he played Boys to Men at just the right time,
He
right
hit
in
it
the middle of it.
perfect.
The DJ came through just right.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that was planned. Everything else was from the heart and from
Yeah.
the wings.
I saw you had like some bullet points, but yeah, you kept it pretty.
Yeah.
You kept it pretty loose and everything. And then I felt just so acknowledged as well from like our friendship and everything when we were getting ready. You're handing out our, some groomsmen presents, and boy howdy, I was so I had no idea that was going to be that we were getting those gifts, and then I get this like custom apron that has big cilantro on it.
That's right.
Felt so good. You got a custom
yeah.
box?
So you notice, this is where my cigars come in. And for years, I have been searching for a cigar case. And that was my groomsman gift. And it actually came with a cigar cutter for an actual stogie.
But you can fit a lighter
But
in
it's
there.
a personalized cigar case with my name engraved on it that you could fit all my Black and Milds. It's going to be a while before I use that. Because usually when I get something good,
You don't want to use it.
that sits for a while.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know we got to wait till that one breaks.
yeah. Like this
Just
one,
put it right over your
this
knee
is just a
later.
used glasses case that Jared gave me like 3 years ago.
I know. I don't remember
And
anything
it
else.
Took the other one breaking before I broke this out. So you can imagine how long
Yeah.
it's going to be before you
Yeah,
see
that's
the new
okay.
one.
That's okay. But yeah, I just so many times I've been involved with weddings, and you get the pocket knife with your name on it, or and it's like I just wanted it to be a little bit more personal. And I mean, these are supposed to be some of the closest men in my life, and I wanted you guys to know that.
Nice. Who got the moonlight?
That was
Maddie.
Matt.
Okay, well I have that along with his sunglasses.
Okay.
You also have his underwear, his
Yeah.
bag.
I do have a shirt of Chase Wild, attorney at laws, to remember him by.
Perfect.
Let's see.
But yeah, the gifts were definitely a surprise because I thought your groomsmen gifts were the suspenders and the bow tie and the pocket square. So that was a pretty big surprise.
Boy, am I so happy to be in suspender season now. The suspender era.
You guys all look
That was
so
the first
good.
time I rocked suspenders, and I could not wait to unravel that because I wanted the look of it hanging. Man, rocked that for hours, baby.
And boy, did I get snapped quite a few times, though. Once people got a little bit loose and everything was like...
I told myself, I'm like, this is how I'm going to address people is by pulling that. I'm like, what'd you say to me? Did that a few times.
Yeah, no, and also before we move on, a huge shout out to my family. It was so important to me to make sure that all my siblings, I have a lot of siblings and they're all over the U.S. and not once in my life have I had them all in one place at one time, and we were able to make that happen, and I love them all so much, so I'm so thankful for that.
Years you've been talking about your siblings, and this weekend we finally met
all of them.
All but one.
All but one. Okay, so...
I have them down now.
I was going to say, do you want to go back and forth? You start.
I know them all.
You do?
I was 80% coming into the wedding, and it was Angelique that was like, I finally think I have it down.
Okay.
And I do. And the one person that wasn't there, that was the hardest one for me to get, and I nailed it. So I'll give it to you. You ready?
Yeah.
From Monique's side.
Oh, gosh, you even know the sides.
Wow, this is going to be impressive.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
From Monique's side, Marinique, Mariana, Angelique. From the Larkin side, that we were just talking Jay, Drew, Nate, Peter, Dan.
Nate is not a Larkin.
You still got a sibling.
Nate,
Was Nate Doug?
Nate is my dad.
Nate's Eldon.
Yes.
Okay, so Eldon, Nate, Barbie, Helen, Dion.
Yep.
Dion was the hardest one for me to remember.
Is that all of them? And then from Brigham is with Jay.
Yes.
And
who was the one that wasn't there?
Dion.
No, who wasn't there at the wedding?
I don't know it. I don't know that one.
Whose side?
It's a Larkin. It's also a type of mud.
Clay?
Yep.
Clay. Yeah.
Clay.
There it is.
I thought
But
Dion was the hardest.
Pretty damn good.
Pretty darn good. I didn't even know.
Pretty damn good. I'll give that a 97%.
That's pretty good because we were trying to figure out who belonged to whom.
Don't even try.
Yeah.
They belong to me.
They
belong to me.
Clay and Dion was the hardest one.
Yeah.
A great surprise not only for us, but you tracked your own wedding song.
Mm-hmm.
That was really special. It was funny that it took Jera a second to figure it out, but
that's okay. I kind of knew that would happen.
There was a lot of emotion coming at people.
That was a compliment, though. The fact that she didn't know right away.
She was like, "This is Michael Bublé." You're like, "Try again."
No, and it was so funny because there was probably 10 people in the crowd. Well, no, probably more than that. 10, 15 maybe in the crowd that knew that I was going to be doing
It was that few?
Yeah. Yes. And you can almost hear in the video that you took, you can hear this murmur of whispers. As soon as the song starts, people are starting to tell each other. So I told everybody, don't tell anyone until it happens. Mm-hmm. And you could kind of hear the crowd grow and the whispers kind of travel across the room. And then as Jera is starting to figure it out, she gives this face of surprise, like, "Oh my gosh!" And then the whole crowd just erupts into cheers. Yeah. It was pretty special.
Everyone's going, "That doesn't sound like Mr. Buble." Who is that?
And then later on, they try and play it again, and then they actually play the Michael Bublé version.
If you didn't notice the groom singing, here it goes again, and it's actually Michael Bublé. And I'm okay with that. If people think that I'm both,
they're interchangeable.
There we go.
Yeah. The final thing that I guess I'll kind of bring up, because there were a number of no play songs on your track list or on your set list.
Yeah, at least I thought
yeah,
so.
At least you thought. I mean, you got some LMFAO in there. You got some Whisper by Yin Yang Twins.
Yeah.
But one I wanted to know about, which you have not brought up, was Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style, was that on the no playlist, or did someone really want that and you let that one through?
So there's a history with that song.
Okay.
When Jared and I went to Philadelphia to visit Chase, we were driving back from the Eagles game back to his house, which is probably like an hour drive. And so we're playing that game we like to play. Like, what song would you play in this scenario? You know?
Yeah.
And so we were playing that game on the car ride home. And the question was, what song would you want to like play as a soundtrack if you're having sex and you wanted to last longer? And Chase and I were like really thinking hard of what we should, say. And I think I came up with like Cotton Eye Joe or something like that, because it's like, whatever, it would be throw me off. And Chase said his, and then Jared goes, mine would definitely be Gangnam Style.
I don't know if it would be mine, because I go, a Gangnam Style would be.
And then
Matty Ice went off on the
so did
dance
Chase.
floor.
I was like, what is going
it
on?
was a
with
full-on
these people?
dance-off between Chase Wild Attorney at Law and Matt Barker.
Yeah.
I'm sad I don't think I was there for
Everyone just circled them, and it was like, you got served. It was head-to-head. It was
that.
great.
I love that. I love
All right.
that.
I just wasn't sure if that was an oversight. I mean, that song is just burned into my brain, just like everyone, but like being at so many sporting events and just every single night. Even now you get that, so it's all right. I'll let it pass.
In fact, Chase had made, it's on YouTube, on his YouTube channel, he made like a little slideshow of all the photos and things we did while we were there.
And he put Gangnam Style.
And he
in
put
there.
Gangnam Style as the song. It's like all these like soft special moments. It's pretty ridiculous.
It's pretty incredible. Well, congratulations again.
Thank
to
you. Thank you,
Jared.
Wild weekend.
Wild weekend. I'm still
Just a
recovering. I'm just
great party.
yeah. We can talk about what we were watching whilst we were getting ready. It was the Oregon Ducks taking on the Buffaloes of Colorado, and it was one of those games that wasn't really a game. It was good to have that sort of certainty by the time we walked when you were walking down the aisle, and
We'll let that one slide for it was his wedding day.
Yeah. And you assholes during the rehearsal were like practicing rehearsing giving me shit while up at the altar. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Go Buffs! Yeah. It was, so like heading into it, the players were, on the 50-yard line, like scratching with their cleats, digging up the turf on the 50-yard line there. Then, let's see, is it Shiloh Sanders? Mm-hmm. He was talking about how he was going to fuck these people up and do all that, and apparently like his like something ruptured and he ended up in the hospital, so that was kind of ironic.
Not good.
But I thought it was interesting that to have all that smack talk and have all of that attention about Ducks versus them, and Dan Lanning saying before the game they're searching for clicks and we're playing for victory, we're playing for wins. And I don't necessarily fault Dan Lanning for saying that in the moment.
Yeah, I don't know
I think
if
that's just something that you say.
I don't know if it's like 100% true. Like, obviously they're playing to win too, but hey, whatever works. I think if you're
You
a coach
say
and
what
that's-
you need to
Yeah.
fire your team up. That's like, I respect and enjoy shit talking.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great for the sport. I mean, the only people that are against that are the people who have to talk about you, aka media. But it's like, when you're a player, you are risking the fact that you can get your ass beat after stomping on their logo and after talking shit. And you just have to take that on the fucking chin if you do get beat 42-6, and then you just bounce. I think that's great for the sport. And Dan Lanning, what coach isn't saying that?
Yeah.
You got to find something to fire your team up. But hey, Colorado's getting all the attention. I mean, it's not their fault they're getting all the attention. And it's like people want to cover them. We've had the last 8 episodes from last season. We've been talking about Colorado.
For sure.
Yep. But no, it was a good old-fashioned butt whooping.
So, okay, when we think about the beatdown that happened in Eugene. I'm curious to know your thoughts about, obviously not having Travis Hunter changes it by a few points. Doesn't change it by that many points, for sure. So I want to know your thoughts about what it told us about both of those teams. We can play was Oregon good or Colorado bad? And then on the flip side, were you surprised to see Oregon not really move in the rankings despite what they did? Or is it just because the guys ahead of them also won on Saturday?
I think you can't have the same opinion for both your questions because they would clash. Because if you're saying that Colorado is like overrated or whatever, and then Oregon did beat them, then the win didn't mean that much. So naturally, it wouldn't move the needle by that much if they were not that good.
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't change anything with either team. I think we came into the season knowing that Oregon's good. I mean, they were ranked in the top 25 going into the season. They're supposed to be one of the best teams in the Pac-12 and in the country with an experienced quarterback. It doesn't change anything for Colorado because at the end of the day, they have a brand new fucking team.
Yeah.
And I've said over and over, to me, this has been a successful season already.
And I agree with a lot of that. Let's not forget that Oregon was a 23-point favorite. They were meant to win this game and win it convincingly.
And they did.
And I think with the strength in the Pac-12, until we start playing some of those other teams that are in that top 10 area, or at least ahead of us, as soon as we get that win against the USC, a Washington, or whomever, or Utah, I think that's when we're going to start seeing these large leaps. Because the fact of the matter is, we're at 9 now.
Yeah.
If you put us up to 6, and then we go and beat a USC or a Washington who's 5 or 4, then we have to be a top 3 team. And I think that the not the committee, obviously not this early in the season, but the people who are voting on this are thinking, well, how much farther can we move Oregon ahead before they're the number 1 team? And I don't think they want to do that.
Also, one thing that a lot of people are viewing as an excuse, here comes the confident Coach Prime all of a sudden coming up with reasons as to why they got their ass whooped. I look at what he said completely different than how people are viewing it. He said, this is the time to get us. And I think that could not be more accurate. Like, this is the time to get us. Like, this is the worst we're going to be. And he's absolutely right. This is the worst his team is going to be because the fucking transfer portal is going to be filled with players wanting to go to Colorado for
you mean this year?
Next
year.
Yeah. So it's like, you beat us now because this is the best time for you to do that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be so much better next year.
So you interpreted that as just that week, not that year? Or that year, not that week?
No, like for the season.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be playing USC this upcoming week, and they are 26.5.
I'm saying I interpreted that the opposite of how people look at it.
Gotcha.
I think people were looking at it like he's making an excuse because from losing to Oregon by a huge, they got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at that as he's right. This season, if you beat Colorado, this is your best chance to beat them.
And go ahead.
To just kind of answer your question from earlier, I don't think that this makes Colorado look bad. I think that this makes them look as good as they are. They're just not, they're not an incredible team. They're a good team. But when I really think that, obviously I'm a little biased, but I do think that Oregon is a strong team in the Pac-12. They are experienced. They are seasoned. They do have just that a little bit more time that these players at Colorado haven't had together to build these bonds and this confidence in one another to trust and to make these types of plays that Oregon can, where Colorado team might slip up in those pressured moments.
Yeah.
So I don't think this necessarily is like, oh, Colorado sucks and Oregon's amazing. I think Oregon's just as good as we thought they are. They're a pretty damn good team that could contend this year as long as they can get through the Pac-12. And Colorado, they're good. They're much better than they ever have been. This is a huge step forward for their organization. Are they going to go to the playoff? No. But they're a good team.
Yeah, I mean,
and don't forget that they have 57 new players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, this isn't something we're going to bring up just because they lost. That's a fact, whether they win or they lose.
And I think that the timing of this is probably good for Colorado. Like, to kind of get smacked in the mouth a little bit, because they were arguably the most popular, electrifying team in college football coming into this game. And I think having this little bit of humble pie, I guess you could say, I think is a good reset to say, okay, we're not everything that we thought we were. We still are going to have to work hard and get better and overcome these good teams. So
probably helps that Travis Hunter
Yeah.
wasn't there, and he won't be there against USC. He
Yeah.
was trying to text Coach Prime and saying, like, hey, there's no way I'm going to be out for this game. And Prime was like, I love you too much. You know, your health is important, and he's just apparently not ready yet. So, but I mean, like, you look at Colorado's schedule, they got USC this week, then they've got Arizona State down in Tempe, right? That's where they play?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then, you know, Stanford's a win. UCLA could be a toss-up. Who knows? Oregon State could be a toss-up, but that's
Sorry.
and then we've got Arizona and Washington State and then Utah. So, I mean, like, you know, this kind of puts them maybe 4 or 5 losses on the year. I kind of think that, like, I was pretty surprised for them to come out 3-0. They get into the gauntlet of their schedule and they kind of come back down. But I think to your guys' point, thinking about next year and all of that, they're already talking about how Shador is going to stay. And
I think the thing that I was concerned about when we recorded last week, and I'm really proud about watching this game and watching the Ducks, is I think in the past the Ducks have given in to the hype. And they've given in to their opponents and kind of played at their level and lost to teams that aren't as good as them. Stanford comes up a lot. Arizona comes up a lot. And so Washington State obviously comes up a lot.
yeah.
So that was one thing that I was most proud about, is that they just played their game because they knew it was better. They stuck to their strategy and they shoved it down their throats.
Are you proud but surprised?
I think that you could say I am a little surprised, because I think we all agree that is kind of their calling card, is they're always right there, and then they just, at the last moment, they stumble over an opponent that they should just absolutely roll.
But to that exact point is the reason why I think this is the same Oregon team, is because they do show up for these games. They beat Ohio State 2 years ago. They show up for these games, and they stumble against a Washington State and Pullman.
But I think obviously the hype around Colorado is there, but they're still 23-point favorites. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. In those games, to me, I always feel like they come in like late November, like
True.
right before holiday season, right before the Pac-12 championship.
That's
Thanksgiving
got to be
weekend.
frustrating as an Oregon fan, as you are going into Thanksgiving weekend like 8-0, and then you lose to an Arizona, you lose to Washington State, and all of a sudden you lose your chance at being in the playoffs.
Yeah, and you can never quite put your finger on exactly why that happens, but it just always seems to, you get the best shot. And I wonder, too, if you guys are buying into this. There's a report that came out after the game in the coming days that there were other teams who were apparently giving information on Colorado to Oregon. And to me, that's just like discrediting Oregon's victory. I mean, like, these guys are smart enough. They're number 9 in the nation because they know how to evaluate these teams.
You know who those people are, though? Those are the exact Duck fans that I hate. That's now a Colorado bandwagon fan. They're the ones coming up with these weird conspiracy theories as to why Colorado lost. They're the Colorado fans that just jumped on the wagon this year, and it's the same group. It's like, come on, man! Like, no one's giving inside info to fucking Oregon.
Yeah.
They won.
Yeah, no.
They scored 6 points.
Yeah.
Okay, let's come up with bad calls and all the breaks in the game.
Sure.
Like, they got fucking ass kicked. Like, there's nothing you
they
can
got
do.
roundhoused.
And who does Oregon have next week?
Oregon next week.
I don't think it's in.
Oregon next week
Stanford.
has Stanford.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah,
See, this
down
is
at the farm. So.
This is kind of a game that it's like, don't fuck this up.
The Oregon-Washington game is going to happen while we're in Corvallis for the
always
Oregon
does.
State-UCLA game.
It always does.
Yeah.
That's going to be...
It's going to be something. It's going to be something.
Another game that I wanted to touch on before we moved on was what went down with Ohio State and Notre Dame. There was obviously like a lot of back and forth. Apparently before the game, Lou Holtz was drumming up a bunch of crap that then set Ryan Day off post-game where he's all yelling at the cameras and everything. But it was interesting to see that in that moment, Notre Dame did not have the right personnel. They played with 10 guys on the field for 2 straight plays. And, after the fact, you're getting, conversation about, oh, well, we didn't want to sub that out and risk a penalty and give them, brand new start. But kind of in that situation, seeing Notre Dame not prepared for that moment.
I didn't get to watch very much of this game.
It was a close game.
Yeah, it was like 4, couple of scores, just a grinded out type of a game. And Ohio State scores with time expiring.
I think this is the only game Notre Dame loses this year.
Yeah.
First of all, Marcus Freeman is doing a much better job than Brian Kelly has ever done in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He's already loved by that entire fan base. And their this is also the first time since Brady Quinn that they've had a really, really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Also, what the fuck was Ryan Day talking about in that interview where he goes, "What's everyone freaking out about? We've had two bad quarters
in the last 4 years."
Yeah, I'm like, you don't remember Oregon beating you in Columbus when you're not supposed to lose that fucking game?
Do you remember Michigan the last?
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I know. He got on his high horse there.
I thought it was funny afterwards. He was like, because I did see the part where he was like yelling at the camera. He's like, "Where's Lou Holtz now?" or something. It's like, dude, he's like 98.
Geriatric is what he is.
He's in bed. He doesn't give a shit about you.
Lou Holtz?
None of us got to watch that game, but I would imagine that wasn't as exciting as people wanted it to be. Like people wanted that to be a shootout.
Sure.
It's 2 offensive juggernauts with Marvin Harrison Jr. and who's the quarterback? Sam something for Notre Dame?
It's
guy with the hair.
Yeah, his last name starts with H, I think.
I don't know why I'm thinking Sam Howell, but that's the command is
Sam Hartman.
Yeah, the fact that it was 17-14 was a little surprising. I thought that would be in the 40s. But other than that, there were no surprises on Saturday.
I think the only surprise was probably the Oregon State game.
Yeah, that was a big old bummer for the Beavs.
That was but that could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way.
I think it was Eitan and I that we were saying like this is such an underrated. This game was completely overshadowed by the Oregon-Colorado game. This is going to be a really good game, and it was 38-35.
Honestly, we are getting to the point of the season. Every Pac-12 game is going to be awesome because now it's just interleague play. A lot of these, I think we have 8 still in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have top 25 matchups that are conference matchups almost every single week. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Turning our attention to the NFL, it was a pretty good betting weekend for me. I'm not so sure about you guys.
No.
Nah.
So you guys want me to tell you about this bet I put together? Did I tell you about it
Was
already?
this the 23-cent bet?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, you know what? I think
I was trying to understand that.
Okay, so it was basically that you were saying no to that either team would score 3 unanswered times.
Mm-hmm.
So field goal, touchdown, whatever. However it goes, is that they would go 3. No team would go 3 unanswered times. So it basically go back and forth.
Right.
Okay.
And
how many didn't hit?
There was probably, I think I got out of 15 games, I was 9-6.
9-6.
So I was thinking there's 2 ways that I can go about this. Because I think that it is a reasonable enough bet that you could make it work, especially if you're dealing with spreads that are like less than 1 score.
Counting field goals?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any score. So even if like the defense scores, that counts as 1. But anyways, I think that you could either round robin this and probably do well, or you just go through and you parlay the less than 1 touchdown spreads. because I do think that there's something to this, and the odds are obviously incredible. It was 23 cents to make $225,000.
If you would have made that, you would have had to give us a little bit of money, right?
I mean, it was my wedding. It was my wedding gift to me. Trust me, you would reap benefits of that $200,000.
I ended up, I think, up $100 on the weekend, so that was nice.
Nice job, Pete.
Not quite this guy.
Did you place those bets at the wedding?
I placed them the next morning while we were waking up.
I was looking at my DraftKings today, and my only 2 NFL wins have been from the first Thursday, September 7th. I've not won a bet
Haven't
since.
won anything? Uh-oh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, on Thursday Night Football, I absolutely faded the Giants. And that just with the 49ers, and I just parlayed a bunch of stuff. And then I got, $10, paid out $60 for something that I sent you guys.
The Jalen Hurts one.
The Jalen Hurts one, that's right. So over 237.5, a touchdown, and an Eagles win. So that was
nice job, Pete.
Yeehaw, you got to win one every once in a while.
I pulled off the very, what's the word? Illustrious? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
But I pulled off the triple fantasy win. I won in all 3 of my fantasy leagues this week, which is hard to do.
Yeah. I got too cute, and I decided to go dip my toe back into the well with Josh Kelly. And with Oz and Eckler out, I'm like, he's going to figure it out. He's not going to get 2 points. I just picked up Zach Moss. Zach Moss scores 21 points. Josh Kelly gets 3.
I did the same thing.
Had I put in Zach Moss, I would have beaten Ayoko.
In the Jimmy's League,
Yeah.
I put in Josh Kelly.
It's just so stupid.
And then Cortland Sutton goes off for
God.
22 on my bench. Damn it.
I had a bet last night in the Phillies, or both Monday night games. Today's Tuesday, right?
Yep.
Okay. Both Monday night games. That was $5 to win $800, and it was just a 4 from one game and then 4 from the other game, and it just came short of Rashad White, 48 yards rushing, and he had 38. Everything else hit.
It's a damn shame.
It is.
And then fantasy won 1 and lost 2. This is my worst start in fantasy in all 3 leagues.
Are you 1 and 2?
I'm 1 and 2 in all 3 leagues.
Dang.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, in my grade, my draft grade, it said I was going to go 12 and 2. Now I'm 1 and 2, so I've got to
Win
Got
out.
a big-
got to win out a little
big
bit
stretch
here.
ahead of you.
We should probably. I don't know if you ever bet when you were in jail, Braxton.
I don't think they were
Not
allowed.
on. Actually, I mean, yeah, well, we definitely bet, but not. This guy's on a phone. I wasn't.
You weren't.
I wasn't calling in my bets. That's for sure.
So this video went viral. It is a guy in jail calling a brother, a cousin, a family, someone on the other line, and he's cooked up a parlay. And let's listen to what he's got.
All right, look. Pick Miami over Denver, Houston over Indiana, L.A. Chargers over Minnesota, New England over New York Jets, Buffalo over Washington, Seattle over Carolina. Man, I gotta hurry up and say this stuff so you can get it down, man. Tell me I'm rushing. I ain't rushing. Just listen. I need you to make this bet on FanDuel. And after you make it a parlay, put $1,500 on a parlay. We finna hit for like 20,000.
And boy, was he right. If we're looking at our locks of the week, so I don't know exactly if that did pay out 20,000. It does seem there were a couple of surprises in there. My lock of the week hit.
my lock of the week hit.
My lock of the week hit. What about yours?
I'm ready for basketball.
So I had -6 for the Dolphins over the Broncos.
So they won by 50.
Yeah.
It was covered.
We were good. We
And
were
then
good on that
The
one.
Bills beat Washington by about 30, I think.
37-3. They win by 34. And just like you and a lot of other people, I had bets like this too. I mean, you're looking at that first window there, the early window. You had the Jags, you had the Ravens, you had, who else did we have?
The Texans beat the Titans, I think,
Let's see.
which I'm sure the Titans were favored.
Let's see what we've got here. Because it was just such a bad week for the bettors because I had put together the Cowboys, Chiefs, Jags, and Ravens. All huge favorites. I mean, you're looking at the Cowboys minus 650. I mean, the odds on this one were just like plus like 130 when you put all those together.
Gosh, the Cowboys. They deserved every
when we were
second of
coming
this.
up with the locks, I mean, Matthew was closer because he was thinking Vikings, and they lost by 4, and they could have scored. 4. The two I was choosing from both didn't cover. It was the Jags minus 9.5. They lost by 20 to the fucking Texans.
They sure did.
And that did not look good from the get-go.
It was 17-0 at half or something like that.
And then I think the Jags scored right before halftime, so it was 17-7. I'm like, these fucks aren't going to cover 10.
Yeah.
And then the other one, I was like, oh, Baltimore could beat the Colts, and they lost by 3.
Yeah. To the Colts.
Without Anthony Richardson. They did that with Gardner Minshew, I think. So
Minshew mania.
It's not – I don't feel that bad because I'm not a pro at betting. However, our friend Walsh, he's still letting the dust settle because right now in 3 weeks of monster teasers, he's 1-2.
Yikes.
Week 1 didn't hit. Week 2 hit, but he did have the Cowboys on week 3. And you would think that was safe. I mean, he had him at plus half.
Right.
How could they fucking
just win
lose?
the game? Brutal.
The Cowboys suck.
Yep. I know. They can't because last year they started what, 8-0?
Every year.
Yeah. But
when we do, I mean, we're going to continue doing these locks of the week.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and we don't necessarily, I mean, we pick out best opportunity, so it doesn't necessarily have to be spread. We could take an underdog at plus money. We could take, whatever we feel like is a lock.
Sure.
We could take money line.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Depending on the odds.
I mean,
we've always kind of stuck to the spreads.
We've been sticking to
for
the spreads.
punishments and stuff. I mean, this is for money.
I'm open to doing whatever.
Yeah, we can see what it looks like for this week and see if
Listen, I'm losing confidence. I'm going money line.
Okay, how about this?
Fans losing
how about
confidence.
this? It just has to be
not a minus 700.
Yes, it has to be
That's fair.
plus 180.
Well, listen, after the Cowboys lost at minus
set a
650.
minus 200 limit.
Okay, for money line.
I think that's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's fair. Everyone got hammered with all the betting favorites this week.
I thought we were back to my wedding.
What?
You said everybody got hammered, and I thought we were back to my wedding.
Very true. You know who did sound pretty hammered was Cris Collinsworth, who I guess that's kind of like a recurring theme for him. He was on the broadcast talking about Josh Jacobs, and I'm not exactly sure if he meant to say what he said.
He looks like he weighs about 200 pounds from the waist down. Just big, thick Saquon Barkley kind of looking.
Did he say big dick?
Let's listen again.
Down. Just big, thick Saquon Barkley kind of looking.
Big
He's
dick
just-
Saquon Barkley looking kind of guy.
I've never seen a guy who has his jaw move around so much when he talks. He's got a loose jaw. Things
loose
like that
jaw there.
fall out.
What has happened to Hunter Renfrow? Why is he just out of the rotation?
Devontae Adams has happened to Hunter Renfrow.
Gotta love that. 42 points this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
You had over 200 points in fantasy.
215.
Pretty
Everybody hit. The whole gang.
I saw this today, which I thought was interesting.
Tell us.
This guy's out of the league. And he was, guess which receiver I'm talking about. He was with the Browns like a couple years ago.
And he's out of the league?
And Jarvis
Jones.
Landry.
Jarvis Landry.
He doesn't have a team right now.
What?
I saw a post today that was like, he just disappeared. And he's a free agent. He's not on any roster right now.
I mean, he made a good amount of money.
But isn't it weird like how people just fall off? Like they are a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, and all of a sudden you don't hear from them anymore.
They're just gone.
It's sad.
They just gone. There was one other thing that I wanted. There was another thing I was surprised to hear this person say, and then we can talk about the game of which this person played in. Tyreek Hill had talked about what he wants to do once he retires. He was on a podcast, I think, with a fellow player. I don't have the exact context, but
I think he has his own podcast.
Okay, well, here's what he says he's going to do once he retires.
You're going to be all over, huh? You're going to be on TV, everything, huh?
Nah, when I retire, bro, I really want to be a porn star, though, bro. Like, dead serious. Like,
He wants to be a porn star.
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Set up that OnlyFans account or something like that for good old Tyreek Hill. Well, he found his way into the end zone at least once on Sunday in a 70-20 beatdown.
He is inching towards he's. This guy said he's getting 2,000 yards this season, and it's looking more and more likely.
So the Broncos lose to a guy who grew up a Broncos fan, who grew up in Colorado, who grew up a Broncos ball boy, and was not even given an interview for his hometown Broncos, and that is Mike McDaniel. And he put a 70-20 beat down on the Broncos and Sean Payton. He had the opportunity to score a field goal at the end to have the most points ever scored in an NFL game. He elected not to do that. So as it stands, they have the third most points ever scored in an NFL game. First time since like the 1960s that anyone scored this amount. More impressive for the Dolphins, an indictment on the Broncos, or both?
I think that this is more of an indictment on not only the Broncos, but Sean Payton. Like, you were supposed to be the guy to come in and kind of be the savior of this team that was in shambles last year. He talked a ton of shit on Nathaniel Hackett.
Sure did.
And was, coming in, dick swinging. And he's talked a lot of shit, not only on Nathaniel Hackett, but he's talked shit on Russell Wilson and how everything was run within the organization last year. And now he looks like a goddamn fool.
He was not only supposed to be the savior of Denver, he was supposed to be the savior of Russell.
Yeah.
And this makes me think that Russell's out of juice.
He also, Sean Payton, in a lot of interviews and press conferences, has been kind of speaking negatively about Russell Wilson, and I'm thinking that he's trying to push him out. I think Sean Payton wants to start anew with his own quarterback that he can kind of have his control of.
You're gonna have to take like a 5th or 7th round quarterback or something like that in order to do it. I mean, they just absolutely have no draft capital, and they're tied up from a cap perspective. It's wild how long. I think that he's under contract till 2029. If I'm not mistaken.
I think the earliest they can get out is 26. But in the NFL, you know that if the money is right and you can make the right things happen, you can kind of finagle your way out of some of those contracts. But still, it's Denver's in deep.
Also, Peter, what did you say about the Dolphins at the beginning of the season?
It is pretty funny that I was just about to bring that up. I was like, this game absolutely disproved everything that I have said leading up to the season. So I was thinking about how Sean Payton is going to get Russ right, and how, Russ might be a top 10 quarterback, coming into this season. I was like, I don't know I know that the offense is going to be good for Miami, but can they actually do? Yeah, I am so wrong. In this game, definitely.
At least you're winning
bets.
At least one of us is winning bets.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm just now riding the coattails on that. So, but yeah, I don't know what will end up happening with Russ, and if they just try and end up shutting him down or something like that.
Who do you think has had a more failed season so far? Denver or the Jets?
The Jets. Injury is something you can't control. The Broncos, that is self-imposed.
But now you're seeing, and I agree with that. But now you're seeing turmoil within the Jets.
Right. I saw
sideline.
I saw a report today that Saleh is possibly losing the locker room because he is backing
Zach
Wilson, and so. Yeah, I mean, they did bring in a veteran quarterback today.
And it's
Trevor Siemian.
When this first happened, when we were talking about this, I said they might be able to keep it together and rah rally around Zach Wilson, but eventually, and it came a little sooner than I thought, he is going to crumble. He's not going to be able to perform at the level that the defense can. That's for damn sure. They're going to get sick of it. There's going to be turmoil within the team, and that's exactly what's
getting
happening.
At each other on the sidelines. You see Garrett Wilson mouthing, he can't throw. He can't throw.
Yeah.
And Michael Carter's fighting with the running backs coach. Like,
Right.
it's not a good look.
Not
It's
so
not
good. Not so good. And I do kind of wonder, this is not how I thought this was going to go, because I was kind of thinking that the Jets would self-implode because maybe the Nathaniel Hackett, Aaron Rodgers thing wouldn't really work out. And what does that do for, Robert Saleh as a head coach or anything like that? Who knows? But I do wonder what the Jets will do at this point.
Biggest surprises and not so shocking so far this season through 3 weeks.
I will say that the not so shocking to me is everybody. I heard murmurs of people thinking that the Patriots would be able to keep up in their division, that the Bills would not be as good as they once were, that that they would be able to hold up. Bill Belichick's still Bill Belichick, and I kind of feel like that era is coming to an end. I don't see the Belichick winning another Super Bowl. I think he retires before that happens. So that's the one thing that I'm not so surprised about. The Dolphins are surprising me. I mean, if you were to say who's in the Super Bowl today, it's like probably the 49ers and the Dolphins. Like, they have played like as close to perfect football as any team out there, in my opinion.
How poetic would it be, right, boys? How poetic would it be with Mike McDaniel going and facing off against his former team? I would think that I am a little bit surprised just about some of the teams that I would have expected to just roll over are not.
Yeah,
Texans.
Like the Texans, like
Colts.
they look good. Like what's going on with Tank Dell and C.J. Stroud, like he's getting good chemistry with some of these guys. The Colts as well. I'm surprised by the Cardinals and the Rams and those guys too, where it just kind of go like, there's not like, who are we looking at as like a bottom dweller here? The Titans. We're looking at now like the Broncos, but I don't think that we expected that. The Giants are not surprising. The Bears. We can talk about that next.
The Bears, the Panthers, and the Broncos, I think, are the three that are probably going to be competing for that number 1 draft pick.
Justin Fields is bad, right?
I don't know
It's
how
not going well.
I don't know how I feel. I'm not ready to just write him off just yet, but I was really high on him coming into the season. I mean, he's my starting quarterback in 2 fantasy leagues when I couldn't get Jalen Hurts.
Losing.
But I don't know if he's bad yet.
Yeah, it's just like I've been seeing people like break down Justin Fields' film and just like seeing how much he's missing, and then he's panicking and he's scrambling out, and it's just like, oh my gosh. And I know that we're cherry picking plays, but it is like kind of egregious how it like he maybe doesn't trust his line, he doesn't trust himself. I'm starting to think that maybe he's bad.
Yeah. And honestly, if they can get that number 1 pick and go with Caleb Williams, that's not a terrible thing.
So I'm not saying that I'm buying into this, but is Justin Fields bad as an NFL quarterback, or is he being put in a position to play the quarterback position outside of what he's comfortable doing? Like, is he, when you have these athletes and you're like, do what you do, and they're best at that.
Yeah.
Or if they're asking him to do something that he is not comfortable doing, and this is becoming a learning process.
Yeah. I think that Justin Fields is the type of quarterback that I really hope gets a second chance in a decent organization. Because I think besides like John Elway, or not even John Elway, he's Broncos, what am I thinking? But like there's not very many Chicago Bears quarterbacks that were like elite. You know what I mean?
Right, they don't have elite quarterbacks. I don't think
they're the type of organization that creates great quarterbacks. And I think that Justin Fields has the potential, but I think that, not a great, position for him to be in.
The Bears have always been very similar to the Pittsburgh Steelers in a way, where you ride a tough, hard-nosed defense and like a running back, whether it's a committee or like one good one, with the exception of Roethlisberger being an elite quarterback for the Steelers. They've always had like an average one, and they ride on their defense. The thing with Fields is, I think, the reason I'm not ready to write him off yet is I think we can all agree he's better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I think that's right.
You want him, like, what would he look like in a different organization?
I think he would, like, if he was on the Jets, I think that they would be
I was going to say, like, the Jets or the 49ers, like, the guys who really adapt to their people. I think that, like, the Chargers have a very good offense. Could they dial up something for him? Not saying that I'm expecting him to go to any of these teams, just kind of like, the question was, is he being put in the right position to succeed? Well, I mean, again,
I don't think so. Because I think there are organizations out there and coaches out there that they will morph their team's identity to fit what the player needs. And then there's other teams that will make the player morph and change to meet the team's identity.
So imagine,
and I think that's the Bears of the latter.
Yeah, I agree. And because imagine if, I'm not saying that he is as good as this guy, but imagine if the Ravens were doing the same to Lamar. Hey, we don't want you to be the Lamar at Louisville. We don't want you to be running around, like, be a pocket passer. I think Lamar is way better than Justin Fields, first of all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But imagine if you tried to put the brakes on somebody that's one of the best things that they do.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not.
And we'll see. I mean, I unfortunately do see a path to the Bears having that number 1 pick and taking Caleb Williams, and I think that might be a great thing for Justin Fields because he's going to get out there and get a different opportunity. And like I said, I think that might be the best thing for him.
If we were kind of going up and down, we can do like a week 3 update on our divisional round picks. We had the Lions. If we go to the NFC, we had the Lions, we had the Saints, we had the 49ers, and we had the Eagles, correct?
Yeah, so we're doing pretty good on that.
We're doing pretty good there. Now,
all at least tied for first, right?
Derek Carr, so Derek Carr goes down with a shoulder injury. He could be week to week. They do have a serviceable backup in Jameis Winston.
Jameis ain't that bad.
Jameis is not bad by comparison, correct. Being thrust into the middle of a game the way that he is never good. So I guess we shall see there. The Falcons, hey, how about the Falcons? I mean,
Frisky.
We're talking about like teams that we're a little bit, surprised by.
Yeah.
I would say that the Falcons are right up there for me. The AFC is where we get a little bit in trouble because we have the Dolphins, which are looking pretty unstoppable at this point. So the Bills could be the wild card there, and then we end up there it goes.
That's going to be more of a battle than I think we thought.
Bills Dolphins.
Yeah, but I do think that it's still a toss-up. I don't think you can just hand it to the Dolphins yet. I mean, the Bills are still playing. I mean, obviously outside of that Jets game, they're playing impressive.
And then we have the Chiefs looking good. We have the Bengals, who are at 1-2 on the year. And I'll tell you what, like this Joe Burrow injury, not so good. And
Let's go Browns.
The Bengals are going to be a tough one to win here in the North.
That's a big surprise, the fact that the Steelers are number 1 in that fucking division.
Yeah.
And then we have the Jags, and the Jags are losing to the Colts. So
yeah,
right, or no, they're losing to the Texans. So.
Here's what's tough though is like that's probably the biggest surprise this year is the Bengals. You expected, I think a lot of people expected
that is the
this
biggest
team.
surprise.
Yeah.
That is the biggest surprise.
But
Burrow injured. He's not playing well.
But
Just
you look
at
at
all.
how much they put on Joe Burrow. Last night he threw 49 times.
Yeah,
49, and it was the first game in 3 weeks that they finally decided to find Jamar Chase. Like, he has had, I think, a total of 7 catches in the first 2 games for under 100 yards, and he had like 150 last night.
Yeah. But
Find the guy.
The thing is he's getting a decent amount of targets. It's just Joe Burrow isn't throwing the ball as well as he used to. He kind of looks like he has the yips a little bit out there. I mean, I don't know if you guys watched this
Well,
last
I think
game.
it's throwing off that back foot with his calf strain. And he's still getting hit. It's not like their lines really put together.
Yeah, he's going straight to the sidelines and getting treatment every single drive.
And he's not practicing at all.
Right, yeah. So it's just like you're getting what you're getting.
That's a big surprise in a negative way. A big surprise in the positive way is the Green Bay Packers with Jordan Love. I didn't expect him to look as good as they're looking right now.
But I will say, we always try to tell ourselves this every year is it's only week 3.
Right.
And we are going to look back on this episode and I'm sure laugh at some of the things we're saying right now.
As the Bengals are in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, especially whenever I say so.
And so I think it's going to be just fun to see how this season goes. Because right now there are some surprising things. That's for sure.
Before we make our locks of the week, the final game I wanted to touch on were the Chiefs and the Bears. So obviously we talked about Justin Fields, but we did not talk about who was not on the fields, and that was Taylor Swift up in the stands there to see her boo, Mr. Travis Kelce. And I saw that because he had been trying to slide into her DMs, and she finally shows up. Swifties are losing their goddamn minds. Travis Kelce earns like 400,000 new Instagram followers. His jersey sales go up 400%. It was the most watched game of the week, and the majority of that was from the 12 to 49 female demographic. So,
I mean, I think regardless of how you feel about Taylor Swift, that shows you the massive influence that she has.
Yeah.
You have people who have never watched football in their entire fucking lives tune into a game
just to catch her like 2 or 3 times.
And merchandise jersey sales to go up that much.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
Jesus Christ, man.
The funny thing is there was like screenshots of like Twitter Taylor Swift fan pages that like there were girls going on there being like, please explain to me what's happening. And they were like trying to explain football to one another.
So you get 4 downs.
And then there was like
10 yards.
graphics. There was images of a field and they're pointing to the lines. You have to go this far to get a first down. And you have 4 tries. It's like
this many points for a score.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. But hey, the more the merrier. Welcome them in. If this comes out though to be like a publicity stunt or a ploy or something like that, I'm gonna be so fucking disappointed.
I want it to be genuine. I think
they better fucking get married or else.
I do think it's funny that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift were walking away, and I think one of the linemen were recording it, and I forget what he said. And Travis Kelce just gives him the
little side eye.
Yeah, he's like,
Yeah, he rented out a whole rooftop restaurant for his family and friends, and for her, they drove off in a little convertible. It is just the perfect little love story between those two. He's wearing 1989 themed outfits, whatever the hell that means. The funny part is that girlfriends have been trolling their boyfriends on the social medias and being like, "Wow, isn't it just like so crazy? No one knew who Travis Kelce was before this, and she's just been putting him on the map." And then just
my first
fucking
pick
around
every year.
Yeah, just fucking around with their boyfriends, just being so serious.
I will tell you, I'm not a fan of other podcasts because I think ours is the best. So I don't really listen to other podcasts. But the Kelce podcast,
pretty good.
Pretty good.
You could not see two extreme opposite lives that two brothers live. I mean, Jason Kelce and his wife are like the most down to earth, laid back couple. Even like the story of how he proposed and all this stuff. And Travis Kelce is like a partier since Cincinnati. I mean, blew his rookie year money on like clubs and bottles and all like shoes. You know the first thing that he bought when he got his contract?
Travis.
The dunks from Back in the Future, right?
The Air Mags, the Marty McFlys,
the Air Mags.
Those are like $10,000 shoes, and I think he got like a $600,000 contract as a rookie.
What a bozo. It is interesting. I was talking with Lindsay about this because obviously I didn't realize what a sex symbol Jason Kelce was. That apparently it was like, I mean, Lindsay in particular was like, yeah, give me Jason Kelce all day.
Over Travis?
Yeah, like apparently Jason Kelce is
just a
the
big bearded man.
big bearded dad bod man. And
I'm here for you.
Yeah, well, you did just get married, so
That's okay.
Yeah, that's
Cheers
all right.
in.
Yeah. So yeah, I imagine she won't be at any other games, and will, Taylor Swift.
Again, I want to make this clear. If this is a fucking ploy, I'm gonna be pissed.
You'll be less of a Swiftie.
I just don't understand why
I'll
it
give her
would
up
be
completely.
a ploy.
It would be dumb.
You don't understand? There's so many reasons why it could be a ploy. Like, think of the numbers you just went over.
Well,
I
but
suppose.
here's the thing. What is she gaining? She
Yeah.
is a mega international star.
It's not like she gained.
Like, and even the average football fan knows who Taylor Swift is. There's way more Swifties that don't know football. And if she's giving that to Kelce, what is she getting?
Honestly, if it was a ploy, I don't think I'd be that upset. Because there are other celebrities that have hooked up for publicity stunts.
Right.
And there's nothing I don't think that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce could do that would be worse than like what a Kardashian would do.
What is that called? What is that called when? Okay, so
Anal.
Right. So Taylor Swift, there have been rumors circulating that she is a closet lesbian. All right? There is a huge conspiracy about that. Now, there were a lot of people who thought that she had done this with Calvin Harris back in the day to give him exposure. And what is that called? Is that called like a heel? Or like when you are with someone to give them exposure?
A beard.
A beard? Is that what that is?
Oh, well, to cover something up. Like, so if say she is a lesbian, she would date a guy and he would basically be her beard.
Right. Okay, so that's probably what it is.
Yes.
And then he gets the exposure, whatever.
Yeah.
So
they're
she
both
had a
benefiting.
beard?
Yeah. Yeah. For a short while.
For a short while.
But she was kissing girls at that time.
Yeah, exactly. So
But
anyway, but it's
honestly-
like Travis Kelce doesn't need that. So I mean, if she actually were a big old
He
lesbian,
doesn't need 300,000 followers. I'm sure he was.
he doesn't
pretty-
need that exposure.
pretty
He's already
happy about
NFL
that.
royalty.
Let's just hey, you know what? I'm happy for
You know
them.
what? You're
Yeah.
right.
I'm happy
We're being
for
way
them.
too cynical.
Yeah.
I'm happy
it's
for
a good,
him.
It's a good pair.
You think they've had sex?
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as much as we're giving Travis Kelce a lot of credit,
We were all silent for a few seconds just to visualize it.
visualize the anal. I think Jason Kelce should get a lot of credit for the quarterback sneak for the Eagles because he does lead that.
Oh yeah,
Jason Kelce is the anchor to the QB
he is
sneak.
first ballot Hall of Fame for sure. As far as a center goes, how many centers can you name?
Jeff Saturday. I mean that he's
there you
up
go.
there.
Okay.
Jeff Saturday yelled
but
at Peyton
Jason-
Manning.
Kyle
Jason-
Long back in the day.
Jason
The Packers
Kelce.
won.
Oh, the Packers one. Okay, I know one. The Colts one.
No, the Packers center is a Hall of Famer. I can't remember his fucking
There
name.
you go.
But good
No
for them.
respect.
I hope they're in
Let
love.
him bang it out. You know, they're having a great time. Jackson Mahomes will pop up out of nowhere and be like, "Oh, I'm Swifty."
I know. What are Brittany and Jax are gonna do now?
I did-
What's their response?
I did see a meme of this guy. He's just like scaling the side of a building, and it was like Jackson Mahomes trying to get into the box with Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, Brittany Mahomes is probably beside herself that Taylor Swift just took attention away from her. So.
Yeah, I do want to see, and we can move on, but I do want to see. There's a documentary about Jason Kelce and his family
Yeah, on Amazon.
On Amazon, I
haven't
want to
seen
watch
it yet.
that.
Yeah, there's one scene that I've seen from it where it's just like an incredible moment. You know, he just loses the Super Bowl, and he's back in his hotel room. You know, his kids have no idea what's going on. And, you know, he's in the entryway, and he's, you know, hugging his wife, and he's just sobbing. And then he, like, collects himself, and he goes over to his girls, on the bed, and she goes, "Did we win? Did we win?" He's like, "No, Uncle Trav won and everything." But then he just like totally disconnected that moment and was just like such a present dad in that moment. It was just like, my kids need me right now, and I don't know if he did that just for the cameras to show how good of a guy he was.
He seems like a very genuinely nice guy.
Yeah, obviously you can do a lot of zhuzhing when you're on a podcast and make sure you give your best. I'm sure we all do. But I've listened to their podcast for a good while, and I respect that guy a lot. He
I don't think it's any different than like when you see these documentaries and there's some guys that, they might be playing it up, but I think the Jason Kelces are genuinely nice. I think like Kirk Cousins, after seeing quarterback, like that's really who he is. He's not playing up for the camera that he's praying with his kids before bedtime. Like it's just, it's who he is.
I've totally flipped my script on Kirk Cousins. I think he's great. God bless him.
All right, let's get into our locks of the week. So I will start us off, and I'm going to take a slight favorite money line bet. This team is a road favorite against the 0-3 Panthers. The 0-3 Vikings are going to come back and win this game. Minus 180 money line for the Vikings.
Brax?
Because we still have Bryce Young, who is probably going to be out again. And the Vikings are scoring points, and they have just gotten unlucky this year. And maybe next week we go ahead and get Walsh on so that then we can show I can either celebrate with him or I can yell at him mercilessly.
I got to be honest, and you guys are going to hate me for this.
These are called locks.
I really think the Commanders are going to cover 8 against the Eagles.
Oh, my God.
But because I know you guys don't want that, I am going to... I really was concerned about the Browns. And I think the way that they responded this week, especially on defense, and the way Deshaun finally played like 2018 Deshaun, besides that one backward pass.
And the massages.
I'm a little concerned about the 2.5 point spread because I do know that this is going to be a good game, but I will take the Browns money line over the Ravens.
Minus 148. So that puts us right now to a 2-pick parlay at plus 160.
Okay, this is a collective bet. All of our money's in it, so can I get some help?
Yes.
Sure, talk it out, baby.
All right. I have 2. Actually, I had 3, but you settled 1 because I was torn between the Ravens and the Browns.
Okay.
Because I think the Ravens were a great value at plus 124 money line.
I can see that.
But now I am torn between the Steelers-Texans game and the Rams-Colts. I really like the Rams at plus 102 money line against the Colts.
I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I also like the Texans money line at home plus money against the Steelers. I am a little bit more scared of the Steelers than I am the Colts, especially without Richardson, even though they just beat the Ravens.
Fuck it, do them both.
If you do the Rams at
money
line, that puts our 3-pick parlay to a plus 426. $30 pays $157.96. If you do the Texans at plus 136, that puts our odds at plus 515. And $30 will pay $184.54.
Okay, take that off. Last one, because I know that I'm going away from a lock with what I'm doing. But if you take the Cowboys minus 7,
Cowboys minus 7 against the Patriots,
what would the 3-pick be?
That would put us at plus 408, and $30 would pay $152.
So that's a $5 difference between taking the Rams money line. I got to take that.
You got to take the Rams.
I got to take the Cowboys.
Cowboys a -7 over
Because
the
I
Patriots.
don't think there's no way the Cowboys they don't respond after
One would
losing.
One would hope.
They have to cover 7.
Either that or Mac Jones will punch you and all of us right in the dick.
They're
right in the sauce
I gotta
Gardner.
take if I really love the Rams bet, but that is a difference of a $5 win. I gotta take the Cowboys at home.
Yeah, you could dial up like your own little thing with like the Steelers.
No, don't
and
tell
the
me what
Rams.
to do.
I will tell you.
I do like the Houston at home against the Steelers. I do love that.
I might do my own, but for our locks of the week, I think I gotta go Cowboys -7.
Okay.
I think after losing last week,
I'll be honest, all 3 of those sound equally as likely.
Yeah, I gotta take the Cowboys -7.
Okay.
Responding last week.
3 bets: Vikings money line to beat the Carolina Panthers.
You took a money line?
I did.
Okay.
Because it was at 3.5 points. I'd prefer it to be 2.5. You know.
Okay.
Then we have the Browns -148 to beat the Ravens on moneyline bet, and then Dallas to cover 7 against the Patriots. Dallas at home for that.
And that
$30 pays $152.67.
Place it.
All right. Logging in. Placing it.
Let's lose another one.
Let's lose another
What
one.
are we? 0 for 3 on the locks of the week.
Let us lose another one.
That's why they're locks, baby.
Can we
Goodbye,
go
my
ahead
money.
and just go one at a time on what a lock means?
What is
Do
your
we understand
What is a lock?
interpretation?
what a lock means?
Yeah.
I'm
placed?
very confident
That is
in
placed.
in the Browns this week. I think that they are on the rise, baby.
Okay, outside of our locks, some great fucking games this week.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Browns, Ravens.
Probably the best week of NFL so far.
Browns, Ravens, Bills, Dolphins.
Yeah.
Packers and Lions.
And I have nothing to do this weekend besides enjoy my honeymoon at the coast. And guess what my wife wants to do? Watch football.
That's the beauty of having her play fantasy.
I know. I know. She
Get that
loves
red
red
zone
zone.
action. Yeah.
She loves
Can you
it.
log in? You'll have to log in on like your.
Yeah. On my phone.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. We're bringing a projector.
So
Well, now-
let's bring some positive energy to this. This is going to be our first win
Yep.
in locks of the week. And we're going to take that 152.
And we're gonna let it ride.
Ride that. It's a big leap.
Yeah.
You know, you're going 30 to win 152, and you're going to get 152 on another 3 pick on week 5 to win. What's plus 406? Quick math, like around that range.
About 500, 600, something like that.
A lot of money.
More than that.
We don't do maths here. We just let the math do it for ourselves.
Did you place?
Oh, yeah, it's a.
Well, congratulations once again.
Thank
for
you.
asking.
Now it's Miguel's turn.
I know.
Mexico.
Mexico.
Clear your eyes.
Lord.
Can't lose.